So I am really excited about today's episode of Take Pride in Retirement because we're joined by someone who is part of an organization really doing incredible work to support LGBTQ plus folks, especially older adults. Christina DaCosta is the Chief Experience Officer at SAGE. That's S-A-G-E. It's the country's largest and oldest organization that's dedicated to improving the lives of LGBTQ plus elders. Christina, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here, Matt.
Well, it's great to have you. And for those who may not be familiar, so just kind of talk about SAGE itself here as we start out, just kind of, give the background and maybe what all you do at SAGE.
Sure. So SAGE is, as you said, it's actually the world's largest and oldest organization dedicated to improving the lives of LGBTQ plus older people. We were founded in 1978 in New York City, so right after Stonewall, but before the AIDS crisis, and was really more of a social services community organization. It was actually founded by young LGBT gerontology students who realized that older folks who they knew weren't getting the services and support that they needed to thrive. So SAGE really formulated on a very local grassroots level. And since then has just grown and grown and grown. We are all over the place across the country. We have, I think, 100 SAGE collab partners. So that's local LGBTQ organizations and aging service providers who want to be affiliated with SAGE in some way, shape, or form. And we do a lot of advocacy work. So we work at the state, local, and federal level across the country to make sure that folks get the aging supports they need. We have a national LGBTQ plus housing initiative. So we do a lot of work around supported housing and LGBTQ plus friendly housing. And we have some national programs that are virtual, like SAGECents, which I'm really excited to talk about today, as well as a mental support app called Sage Hear Me, which is matches folks who sign up for like text-based mental health support, as well as chat support. And yeah, we really run the gamut because our community runs the gamut. And we realize that everyone deserves to age with dignity and respect. And I don't care if you are 20 or 40 or 60 or 80 or 100. If you're in this community, SAGE is here for you and to support you as you age.
That's amazing. And so many different aspects to your work there and just wonderful. And yeah, we're going to spend a lot of our time today talking about SAGECents, which is that really, finance focused part of what you all do, or one aspect of it, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's really super important. It's such a perfect fit for the show today, because I always say, like, my sort of thing that I always come back to is that no matter who you are, where you come from, who you love, how you identify, how much money you have, like any of those things, you deserve a retirement that you can take pride in. And that's really why the show is called what it's called. So it's we're really, we're all working pulling in the same direction here. And from your perspective, what are some of the biggest challenges that LGBTQ plus elders face as they age today, and some things that people might not even realize?
Yeah. So, I've been working at SAGE for a really long time, since 2007, actually. And when I first started, one of the most interesting things that is still true is that LGBTQ plus elders face discrimination, not only from the LGBTQ space, because aging is somewhat difficult concept to explore with the LGBTQ plus community. We're a very youth-centered community. But also aging centers, senior centers, they face double discrimination being queer. So that's something that I think a lot of younger folks may not realize or grapple with. And this community is far more likely to face aging without the support of a partner, children, extended family. And that really creates a ripple effect, in terms of your own healthcare, in terms of your retirement, in terms of your financial well-being. And there's also just a lifetime of trauma. This is a group of folks where homosexuality was a mental illness, declared a mental illness for a very long time by the American Psychiatry Association. The AIDS crisis, big one. COVID, another crisis, another healthcare crisis that this community went through. So these folks have faced a lifetime of discrimination and a lack of support, and they still led the way. They still fought through the AIDS crisis. They still fought at Stonewall. They still created a community for themselves that we are benefiting from today. And that's something that I think is really important for us to remember is also the resiliency. So there's a lot of challenges. And I do think, especially now in the environment we're living in, there's a lot to be learned from these folks who led the way.
Yeah. And one of the things that you just sort of led into it right there, the things that I keep coming back to is maybe, just maybe, a silver lining around sort of a very dark cloud that we seem to be under right now, especially as LGBTQ plus folks, especially the T and the Q and the plus. The silver lining could perhaps be that it fires a lot of people up, and that it really educates people who are younger, who may not have that, firsthand knowledge of where we've been in the past. Things like Stonewall and the AIDS crisis and all of that don't have that personal connection to it. It may just, kind of show them, yeah, you know what, we've come a long way, but we've still got a long way to come. And there are still battles to be fought and won, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And what's interesting is, in terms of talking with trans elders, they were like, we've had nothing. We've had less than nothing. We've had to sell ourselves. And, and we're still here and we're still fighting. And so, I think that there's so many lessons to be learned, and aging is a privilege. It really is. And the fact that I think SAGE is here to help facilitate that process for everyone, no matter what your age, is really remarkable, and is actually why I'm still working here. I learn so much every single day from our elders. Honestly, it's just amazing. And again, I think looking at that resilience right now and making sure that younger folks know about it is just really important.
So important there. And, one of the ways that you all, as you were mentioning earlier, kind of help people navigate life and improve their lives as LGBTQ plus elders, especially, is financially. And that leads me right into SAGECents. Talk about SAGECents and that zip program and what it is, and how, seniors can take advantage of it.
Yeah, so SAGECents is like my baby. The actual app started in August of 2020. So we're coming up on our 5-year anniversary, which is really exciting. And it really started because we found that, again, due to a lifetime of discrimination and lack of, supports, that this population needed a safe space where they could get and access information in a way that wasn't talking down to them, that was speaking their language, that was really inclusive. And SAGECents is really that tool. We believe that financial security is just foundational, right? It gives you agency with your own life, with your own health, where you live, and the ability to, be more financially aware, more secure, really helps you choose, all of the things that affect your life. Like, we live in a capitalistic society, and money matters for what that's worth, right? And so making sure that our community has a really a foundational base in order to learn more and not feel scared to ask questions or seek out resources because of who they are is really why we started SAGECents. And it has been so amazing to see Because we have all the data from SageCents, like how people progress through the program. People improve their credit scores, they save, I forget on average, I can like pull up some numbers in a bit, but people save money, they raise their credit score, they feel more financially secure, they're making budgets. And I think especially the fact that we launched during COVID was just uh, so impactful. And we're still seeing people, I think, especially now with so much volatility, signing up for the program because it gives them a space to start off. And it doesn't matter if like you have a financial advisor and you don't think you need it, or you have never thought about your finances before. It's free. Folks can sign up. You see where you're at on your levels, and you get tailor made resources really for where you're at. So it's a great program and app, and I'm just really proud that it continues to exist and be a resource for the LGBTQ plus community.
That's amazing, and it sounds like something that is right up my alley, and that I would encourage all of our listeners and viewers to go and discover for themselves, because it sounds so great. And talk about kind of people's experience with it. Like, have you heard? I mean, obviously, you said it's been around almost 5 years now. What kind of feedback have you all heard from people who have actually, downloaded the app and worked their way through it and seen improvements in their financial life?
Yeah, well, luckily you don't even have to download it, Matt. It's a web-based app, so you can just boop, 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 access it on your computer. No need to go to the app store. So easy. Yeah, I mean, what is great, and, we have some testimonials like popping on our YouTube channel and things like that if folks want to follow Sage, is people say that it's really impacted their lives. I think during COVID in particular, we had someone who connected with a free financial advisor through the app, and they had lost their job due to COVID, and really worked with this person to figure out what their next steps were, what a budget looked like for them. And they said, because I had this access, I was less scared. I was able to take control in a time where I felt no control at all. Other folks have, again, I think being able to go through it and just sort of track your own progress, have expressed that it's really easy to use. It's really affirming in terms of like pronoun usage and like where you're at in terms of, reaching out to folks in the community. And it's been a really great response. And, one of the things that we do in the app is we run sweepstakes and things for folks, who, take part in it. We have a bunch of like surveys and like little roadmap, like games. It's very gamified. So it's kind of fun too. And so one person who won one of the little sweepstakes was like, this was actually life-changing. Like $100 may not seem like a lot of money to people, but the fact that I got this for doing something that benefited me financially anyway, like really helped me. Like they were going through, and some of the responses we get are people who, have unexpected medical bills, have to caregive for someone that they didn't think they had to caregive for. And so being able to, have an affirming place to search for information, to ask questions, can be very life-changing to folks who don't have a place to go to. Especially those who live in rural areas. We have a high population of users who live in more rural areas of the country, and this is a place where they can get safe resources.
Yeah. And that's so important. Financial security is so important as you age, just in general, because you sort of alluded to it there, where a lot of LGBTQ plus folks end up being caregivers, but don't really ever necessarily have someone to take care of them if they should need it, because, they may not have children, they may not have other relatives who are willing to do that even. So, it all depends on family dynamics, and everybody's situation is different, but by and large that's true. And a lot of people who Sage works with, I'm sure, and people who have benefited from this app, are those who have not grown up with financial privilege or financial access even. If people, maybe started late for, preparing for retirement or preparing for, just having enough to cover their healthcare expenses in their retirement years, which is like so critical, because those costs are not going down, definitely. What, would you say to them? Like, is SageCents a good thing for them, even if they feel like they've gotten a late start in life financially, that they can benefit from SageCents?
Yeah, I mean, I like to say it's never too late to start saving. It's never too late to try to take control of your finances. You know, no matter your age, you deserve dignity and security, no matter what your starting point is. Especially if you're navigating your financial planning later in life because you didn't have access to, wealth building tools or home ownership or generational wealth or safe workplaces. A lot of folks got fired for being LGBTQ plus, right? And so, I think SageCents is a great first step for folks. And again, it's never too late to start. I recommend, as many folks do, right? You focus on those small, consistent step budgeting, saving, and exploring the benefits you may qualify for, because that's a huge part of the work of retirement and aging. And money matters is like what's out there that you can that are benefits for you as an older adult. And right now, navigating those things might be a little difficult, but there are still organizations and folks out there, who are dedicated to benefits counseling, right, and making sure that folks get what's theirs, and I think that it can be so daunting, and we put it off, but start today. If there's someone listening who is just doesn't know where to start with SageCents. Start with this podcast. It's never too late.
Yeah, it really, that's what I always, say to people who think that they've gotten a late start on anything. Well, you'd be surprised at what you can do now. You'd be surprised at how much the little things that you can do now, if you do them consistently, as you were saying, how big of a difference that really can make. So yeah, you're absolutely right. And speaking of daunting things, Sage, obviously, as you mentioned earlier, advocates for policy change and for, just support for LGBTQ plus elders. Are there any initiatives in that front right now that you wanted to maybe call attention to?
Oh, well, I highly recommend, if folks are interested in SAGE or anything policy related for older LGBTQ plus people. And note, we will all be lucky to be older LGBTQ plus people. I always like to say that, like when I'm at a Pride parade, I'm like, you're going to need SAGE. You're going to need SAGE. We all age, right? And it's not going away. If we're lucky, we age. So I would say, for anyone interested in any policy work that SAGE is doing, I highly recommend to join. We have an action squad on our website, and folks can sign up for our action alert emails. They are broad on the national scope, but they're also very localized. So, we do a lot of work when there are issues related to, the intersection of aging and LGBTQ plus policy and life. There's ways for folks to get involved, raise your voice, and SAGE makes that really easy. And I'll share a link with you, Matt, in a moment where folks can sign up for that. But definitely, there's a lot that's going on right now. And the more who, raise your voice, as we've learned from our elders,
yeah,
the change can happen.
Right. The better off we are, the more of us are involved and the more of us speak out and use our voice, because that really is the one thing that we all have in common, is that we have a voice and we can use it, and we can use it to affect change in a positive direction, despite anything else that may be going on around us. I always say control the things you can control when I'm talking to people about like their own personal financial life and all of that. And the other outside stuff may seem like stuff that you can't really control on a personal level. But when it comes to social change or policy change, that is something where you can, because we can collectively go out and use our voice and, effectively control things if we're in large enough numbers and use our voices loud enough and long enough, we can do that. So it's so important to just be involved.
100%. And if folks do want to sign up for that action squad, it's sageusa.org/action squad. So highly recommend folks signing up for that. And, to go, back to this idea of, you got me thinking, Matt, about it's a scary time right now, for the community, but also financially. If folks are, not sure if they should even start with retirement savings or what that could look like. Again, it's not too late, and the time is now. Even though it might be a scary time financially with what's going on in the markets and the outside financial world. But this is an opportunity where I think a lot of folks are rethinking their retirement, rethinking finances, might be scared, lost. And I highly recommend, seeking out SAGECents, seeking out resources, listening to great podcasts like yours, and just really educating themselves as what's actually going on and taking those small steps to secure your financial future.
Yeah, it's the little things that matter. And a couple of questions here before we wrap up, and I wanted to maybe get you alluded to this in the beginning, but I wanted to get maybe a little bit personal, but not too personal, and ask you, what personally sort of drew you to this work? So you've been with Sage since I think 2007, right? So it's been a long time. So what drew you to it, and what's kept you there?
Okay, well, this is personal. So I will be honest. I was thinking about being a lawyer for a long time. I worked at a lot of law firms, and nothing really quite fit. And I had lots of friends working in the nonprofit sector. And this opportunity came up, and I thought, gay old people, they exist? Really? I'm fine. I'm cool with being age. I'm 44. I just turned 44. And so however long, I can't do math, y'all. So don't count on me for that work. But however old I was in 2007.
I just turned 44 myself, so
yay, happy 44 club. So I don't know how old I was in 2007. Y'all can do the math. But I just remember being like, oh wow, like this is real. Like these folks exist. This is important. I want to exist. And so I joined Sage, and I kind of never looked back. I've grown and grown and grown in the organization to where I am now as the chief experience officer. And like I said, the thought of not only helping our community, but also learning from those who led the way has just really impacted my life so much. And the fact that I get to talk with these folks, talk with LGBTQ plus older people, and talk with younger people, and then connect them and create these programs that's like, I can see the impact, and I can see the impact of Sage. Like Sage has grown so much from where we were in 2007 to now. It's been amazing to just see the organization's growth, but to also see older LGBTQ plus people like really being brought into the mainstream a little bit. And I know we're dealing with stuff right now, politically and as a country with LGBTQ plus folks, especially as you said, the T, the Q, and the plus. But I feel like there's been such a movement of older voices coming into media spaces. You know, we have the old gays who became a sensation, and so many other fun folks who are aging with pride, aging with vibrancy, taking a stand. And I think that provides so much hope and knowledge for the younger community. And I really hope that's not lost. And I think that history portion too is just so important. And yeah, that's why I'm still here. Honestly, it's such a privilege to work at an organization that's doing such impactful work, but I also get to learn from folks who are much wiser than I am. And it's great.
I love that. And yeah, they have so much to teach us all, and just from existing and being themselves, and, you know, teaching us from their experiences. It's just invaluable to us, to everyone. Okay. So before we wrap up here, just anything that you like, if you could leave our listeners or viewers with one kind of message about preparing for the future, what would that be?
Don't wait. Don't wait. The best time to plan is today. If you have not thought about it, do it now. Whether you are 44, 75, 25, 85, whatever it is, just don't wait in terms of your future. You know, little by little, your future self will thank you. And I would also say to surround yourself with the people and organizations that affirm who you are, and build a life that centers your dignity, safety, and joy. And that will, I feel, that's what I've learned from our older LGBTQ plus folks. And yeah, I would say, like, especially with regards to your finances and your future, is just don't put off today what you can. Don't put it off. Just do it. I'm not even going to say the adage.
Yeah, there you go. Don't put off until today. No, that's not right.
Whatever it is, you'll do it. I mean, just do it today. Just do it today. Whatever, you know, stop, you know, when this is over, stop and just sign up for SAGECents, or just, you know, just think about it. Like, or open your bank account. What do I have? Do you have a bank account? Do you know your credit score? Take a look.
Yeah. Do you have anything that's, you know, any money that's somewhere that's actually growing, or are you just stuffing it under the mattress? You know, like, you could take a look at it and see what you could be improving. And SAGECents, I feel like, is a great way for people to do that, and really to get like this holistic picture of where they are and where they could be, and kind of how to get there. So that's great. And I thank you so much for that work. I know that you've been very involved in SAGECents, and of course in SAGE, the organization, for quite a long time overall as well. So I really do appreciate it. Christina DaCosta is the Chief Experience Officer at SAGE. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I'll tell our listeners, by the way, sageusa.org is the website, and there you can find all of the different resources, and I'll put links in the description for the podcast and everything. So, but Christina, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt. This was awesome.